Okay, welcome back to the channel. And in this episode, we're going to actually kind of go over one of the comments we got tonight on yesterday's video. I actually find it quite interesting, the comment, and I'd like to address it a little bit further than just replying back in a comment. So we're going to go ahead and address it here. Plus, it's a pretty good topic. So I said in my previous video when I was sick that I just didn't want to suffer that much anymore. So I don't train while I'm sick anymore. So he leaves a comment and says, I love, oh no, wrong one. He goes, contest prep is a nightmare, straight up hell. And you said you don't want to suffer anymore. Are you sure you're ready and really want to do that? So to me, it's a different kind of suffering. So it's like if you hurt your knee, like which I did not that long ago, a couple weeks back, if you hurt your knee and it hurts to bend down, but you keep bending down and making it worse, it's not a suffering that's worth doing. If you're sick and you're running a fever, you have a massive migraine, you have loose bowels, you have nausea, you feel like throwing up, severe fever, just that type of misery, you're hurting that bad. That's not a suffering that I want to go through anymore. That's not something that I feel there's any benefit to reap from doing that and pushing myself through that to gain what out of it? Maybe a fraction of an ounce of muscle mass or lose maybe an ounce of fat. Like is that going to be the difference of winning a competition or not? Maybe, maybe not. But at the level that I'm going to be competing, complete amateur, and being my first bodybuilding show, do I need to stress that much about it? Especially, I'm still over. I'm probably around 9 months. I don't know when I'm going to compete. I'm going to compete sometime in the middle of next year, maybe towards middle end of next year. So I have a long way to go, and it's not something that's so detrimental that I need to push through. So the suffering that you're speaking about of being hungry, oh yeah, I could be hungry. And brain fog, absolutely brain fog. Overeating to the point where you're hurting because you have to eat so much food to put size on, absolutely I can suffer through that. Training to the point of being sore and miserable because how sore your muscles are, I'm addicted to that. I love the muscle soreness. I love having just like just complete muscle agony from walking around, standing, sitting, moving, twisting, turning. That muscle soreness from a hard workout, I enjoy that. I welcome that. I pursue that type of soreness and suffering. That's the type of stuff I enjoy. Like because when I used to compete in powerlifting, like overeating is miserable. Like being hungry sucks. I mean, it is not fun being hungry, but having to feed yourself when you're already full and you just ate 2 hours ago, then you have to eat another meal the same size of that meal that you're still full from. That's horrible. That's absolutely horrible to do. If no one's ever actually truly eaten that much food before, like 12,000 calories a day, like I used to do, I don't think you have a true appreciation for how miserable that is. And then the workouts, like being achy and sore and muscle aches, and then just hurting all over and cramping, and just no matter what you do, there's no relief from the agony. Like that's a different form of suffering because at the end of the day, the suffering is leading up to a goal, and that is to be better, right? That whenever I'm going to start competing for bodybuilding and I start like contest prep, like that is leading up to an end result. That's not going to be forever. That's not going to be always, and that's not going to be how it's going to remain the remainder of my life. It's just going to be a small duration of time, 12 to 16 weeks, maybe 20 weeks, depending on how much time I need to prep for the competition, of being hungry and being exhausted and being just overall tired and exhausted feeling. But like I said, that's coming to an end, and that's going to be leading up to the best I've ever looked in my life, the probably biggest I've ever been, at the leanest I've ever been, and then getting to step on stage with other people who have just suffered the same amount of time and gone through the same amount of prep that I've, different workouts, different diets, obviously, but they were doing it their own way in their own terms that was still suffering together. And to step on stage with a group of guys that like, hey, I wasn't doing this alone. Everybody here went through the same thing I went through. We might have been in our own locations in our own gyms, but we all went through it together. Now let's see who suffered the best and the longest to get first place. And whether I come in first or last, it's just going to motivate me harder and more. Well, it's going to motivate me more to train harder and to train more aggressively and diet harder for the next time around. Because every single time I get that itch, and if I lose, it's like, okay, what do I need to do to win next time? And even if not win, but like place better. Like what can I do to place better? Like what do I need to do? So that type of suffering is something different versus just like, hey, I have loose bowels and I can't control my stomach right now, and let me go do some heavy bent over barbell rows and hope to God nothing bad happens on the other end. That's not the type of suffering that I want to push through anymore. And like I said, I'm at a point in my life where it's just like I'm never going to go pro, and I'm never going to be able to sit there and stand on stage at Mr. Olympia and be like, training when I was sick was worth it because it got me here. It's just not going to happen. It's not in the cards of reality for me. I'm 36, going to be 37 in January, 3 kids, full-time job. So the realm of possibility for that is long gone. But the possibility of me competing local and having fun and enjoying myself, that's a very real possibility. And suffering and dieting and straining and being hungry, that is, like you said, Jay Cutler said himself, you have to kind of be a little messed up in the head to want to go through this, because it's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be difficult, because otherwise everyone would do it if they could, and that's the reward and joy you get out of it.
Yeah, and you're gonna pick your battles, no matter how it goes. You gotta have you're gonna have those instances where you pick and choose, more or less. Is is the suffering that I'm fixing to go through worth pushing that extra mile, or going like those extra steps, kind of thing, or is it just is it not gonna be the results you're gonna get out of it not really worth that extra go? Like you're you're like we were talking about yesterday, being sick. Like if you're in there when you're sick or something like that, and you do that training, but now you've just caused your body to break down more, and now it's going to take you even longer to get over whatever is bothering you, sort of thing. Did it really help you in the long run, you going in there and pushing that extra step? But again, like you're saying, if the realm of looking at it as like you're struggling and you're pushing through, persevering, kind of thing, is do like you handling your diet and everything like that, and even like the people around you just being coming at you with like, hey, let's go do this. Come on, like, what do you mean no? Come on, like you'll be fine. Sort of like dealing with those sort of like issues, like social issues and everything like that.
Mm.
Pushing through those kind of things, that's also difficult, yes. But those are the issues where, like at the end of it, you can look back and really go like, okay, because I made that choice that day, I am a little bit further here, and that could have been like those little things throughout the whole journey or whatever are what helped get me that much further, sort of thing. Whereas again, like with something like being sick or hurting yourself, and getting yourself to continue pushing through it, like that heavy pace, kind of real struggle, like kind of thing. Like if you end up hurting yourself even more, or again, like I said, making like breaking yourself down to where now your recovery time from your sickness would have been like 2 days or so, and now you're like 4 or 5, 6 days in, and you're still not feeling well. Like, was it really worth it? Because now, if you're at that point, are you really getting everything out of your workout still, or are you now having to kind of back off because you don't feel well, sort of thing?
Yeah, so that's a valid point too, because it's like if you're going to the gym and you're giving it 30% because you feel bad, like you probably would have been better off just staying home and resting anyways, because you're not going to really push to your full potential. But also, with that being said, like about fatiguing yourself more. So whenever I used to powerlift, the biggest issue about powerlifting was keeping your central nervous system from fatigue. So as your weights get heavier and your loads become more intense, your percentages go up, your fatigue goes up as well. As your intensity rises, your fatigue rises, and you have to try to offset your fatigue so your intensity continue to rise. But eventually, they're going to meet, and when they meet, you're gonna stall. You're gonna hit a wall. So that's where you take your deload weeks. That's where you back off percentages. That's where you start dropping volume. So if you're in a building block, if you're just in a block like a mesocycle and you're just building, right, your percentages are lower, so your reps are higher. But then as you start to peak, your reps start to come down, your percentages start to go up, so your fatigue starts to stack up dramatically. Well, this taxes the central nervous system really hard, which sets in more fatigue. So you have to offset that. So if you're sick and your central nervous system and your immune system is under attack because if you have a sickness, the flu, or whatever it may be, and then you push through it, especially powerlifting, like you can actually delay your recovery for days, if not a week or two, and just feel like crap for the next 2, 3 weeks versus just taking a few days off from training. And I learned this the hard way because I did it over and over and over again. I didn't care. Like I had to get in there and I was hardcore, and I needed to prove to not only the room but myself that like this is something that needs to be done because someone has to do it. Like David Goggins mindset, like who's going to carry the boats, type stuff. Like whether you're sick or not, you got to do it. But like, well, who are you doing it for? Because the people at the competition aren't going to, care.
Mhm.
The people in the audience aren't going to care. The viewers aren't going to care. I mean, they might think you're tough or hardcore for it, and might inspire them or look up to you. But at the end of the day, like who's really yeah, like man, you need to train when you're sick, because if you don't, like you're going to lose my respect. Like there's nothing really to be gained from that, right? Especially because if you're sick and then you're dehydrated from throwing up and having loose bowels, like you have a much higher probability of getting hurt and getting injured because of you're dehydrated. And dehydration will wreck your joints. They will wreck your tendons and your muscles, and you could tear something really easy if you were dehydrated. And having loose bowels, like I did, it's just not a good combination to get in there and really try to push the envelope whenever you're already dehydrated. So, like I said, with the central nervous system being taxed so hard and the immune system, taking a couple more days of rest versus maybe a week or two of recovery. And I'm not speaking for everybody here either. Like this isn't, hey, everyone needs to apply to this and this is how everyone needs to be. This is just a personal opinion of my experience and what I've done and what I've accomplished
Yeah,
and the little
like I
bit of
said,
fitness that I've had.
like each individual is going to pick their own battle. Like I
Mm-hmm.
was saying, like you're going to have your own battles that you feel like this is the one that I need to push through, and this is the one that I can let go, or whatever I can back off from, and could like proceed later, sort of thing. And that's going to be on an individual's basis, kind of thing. Like you don't want to, like nobody's here telling somebody like you have to go through, sort of thing. And even with the person that commented, like if they're looking at the struggles and things as like all struggles are equal, which I'm not saying that they are, it could be interpreted that way though. Like that's their way of looking at it, that kind of thing. So like that's what you want to do, run with that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like I'm gonna pick my own battles individually, and again, with the goals that I have in mind and stuff like that, training while I'm actually physically hurt in some way or sick, I don't see a lot of benefit coming from that myself.
Yeah. Well, and the thing too, like now let's play. I'm gonna play devil's advocate here because I love doing that. Right? It's my niche. So if I was like approaching the competition, and let's say I was like 4 weeks out, I probably would have gotten in the gym and worked out. Like to be completely frank, I would have got in there and I would have done what I needed to do, and I would have risked it because it's like I'm too close to mess up now. Right? That's where my mindset would be. But I'm so far out. There's no point and going through that. There's no point. But like the closer I get to a goal and the closer I get to the end, the harder and harder I push to close that gap as much as possible because I want to do my best. I want to achieve what I'm after, and and it's not for me. Nobody trains to lose, and nobody competes with a mindset of like I want last place, right? But if there's 10 competitors, someone's going to be 10th. I mean, it's not that they're bad. It's not that they suck or they're not good or they didn't try. It's just there's 9 other competitors that came in with more experience, more time, or just they just dialed it in better, right? And that's all there is to it. And the whole concept is like for me to go into my first show, going like I'm going to take the show and win first place. I'm not going to put that much pressure on myself because that's what I did whenever I was a teenager. I put that much pressure on myself, and then I never competed because it's like I have to win. If I don't, I heard about all these like stories of these teenagers going pro or getting their pro card at 21, 22 and winning their first show and their overall and getting, well, at least getting a qualifier to go to a pro show, right? Because you have to qualify, you have to win local, and then you can go to
Mhm.
qualifiers and everything else. So like it's all in stages. I need a refresh on it because it's been years since I paid attention. But from what I remember, like you have to win your show, your local shows. You have to win overall. Then you have to go to a qualifiers. And then when you go to qualifiers, if you win a certain place, you could go to nationals. And then from there, I think you could go for your pro card. And you have to win so many in a row till you could get your pro card. If I remember correct, I don't know. The rules have changed so much. Because I said it's been years. I'm 36. I followed it really heavy from 16 to about 24, 25. Then that's when I got into powerlifting and I just kind of like faded off of the bodybuilding. Haven't really paid too much attention. So I'm a little rusty. I'm going to kind of do a refresher course and start paying more attention and learning it back and seeing what all's changed and everything since I really was diving deep into it, head first. But like I said, I put so much pressure on myself. Like you have to do good. You have to win. If you don't win, like Ricky Bobby, right, from Talladega Nights, if you're not first, you're last. You know, there's no point of going if you're not going to be the best. And I wanted to do shock and awe, right? I wanted to be like the phenom. You know, like there was a guy. I can't even remember his name anymore, but he was 20 years old, 21. He was all over the magazines, and he was sponsored by BSN. I wish I remember his name because I look him up and put him on the video, but they call him the Phenom. I'm going to look it up, see if I can find it, but they called him the Phenom, right? He was like 20, 21 years old, and dude was jacked. They said he was the next big thing, and man, he just disappeared. I don't know what happened to him. He just disappeared. I don't know if it was too much pressure, too soon, too young, too early, whatever. But like I said, I saw these success stories, and I'm like, I have to walk in their shoes and fill their shadows, because if not, then what does that make me, right? A wannabe, a has-been, a poser, what is it, right? So I put all this stupid pressure on myself instead of being like, let's just go and have fun and see where I place. And then don't look at first if you come in last. If you're at 12th, look at 11th. What could I have done to beat him? Okay, let me try to take his place and bump him down. And then let me see if I can move to 10 and then 9 to 8 and then move my way up my ranks, and then look at that instead of being like, hey, I have to go from never competing to first.
Yeah.
Or like, I should just compete and just get it over with and get the butterflies out my system, get the nervousness of how does it work backstage, signing up, the spray tans, just get it all out the way and just let it be a massive wreck and just be like, yeah, it was horrible. Didn't know what I was doing. I was trying to ask everyone for help. Some people did. Some people didn't care to help me. However it ends up going, just get it out the way. And whether I look stupid, foolish, embarrassed, doesn't matter, right? Because it's my first time. And I'm just going to have fun with it. And then from there, then it's like, okay, let me take the next one, since now I know the way it works a little bit more serious. And now I know how to dial it in a little bit better. And then I'm still on the fence about getting a coach, because I'm really debating possibly hiring a coach, whether they're online or in person, to help me with my posing and to help me with my last couple of weeks of dieting. I don't think I'm going to hire a coach for training purposes, because I'm not saying like a coach can't help assist in training, but maybe if you could give me like, hey, you need to bring your lats up or bring your arms up. Okay, cool, I'll do that. But to write out a specific routine for me, I'm very limited to what I can do because the abuse I've put my body through over the years. So it's not like I could get on there and do some wild out exercise. It's like, I can't move like that, man. Like, I'm very limited to what I can do. And that's why I do a lot of the same movements, because I'm limited to what my body can do, because my knees and my hips and elbows and shoulders and stuff. So, but like I said, I'm not going to put that much pressure on myself. So am I ready to suffer like that? Absolutely I am, because I wouldn't be looking into this to compete if I wasn't ready to suffer, right? I think the 2 years of depression I went through when I tore my pec and I couldn't work out the way I wanted to work out because I wanted to keep powerlifting, but reality set in finally that I couldn't do it. And then when that hit, that's when the depression hit. Like, that's who I identified as. Like, I'm a powerlifter, and now I can't powerlift. Like, who am I? Like, but what do I do now? I spent all this money on this gym for powerlifting and all this equipment, and now I can't even use it. And what do I do now? And I looked at it the wrong way. Instead of looking at like what else I can still do, look at all the stuff I can still do, I only looked at the things I couldn't do. And the thing I couldn't do is compete in a full powerlifting meet and be competitive. I can never be good at bench no more, right? Just, it's not going to happen. It's not in the cards. So that led me down this horrible road. And it wasn't because like I didn't want to do it. It's just I couldn't do it. And that led to depression. So suffering for dieting and training and being exhausted all the time is a suffering I would gladly do if it's working towards a goal of competing versus just knowing that it's not even a possibility no more. So yeah, I'm 100% ready to suffer. I got to get in shape before I could get in shape. I'm still way too fat. And here's another comment was like, do I always work out in my underwear? It's not underwear, right? It's my shorts. I hike my shorts up. I have some swimming shorts that I got on Amazon, and they're little short shorts, and I wear those sometimes. If I'm not in those, I wear my shorts and I just hike them up so I can see my legs when I'm doing my workouts, because I like to see the development of my legs when I'm training. And you look your best when you're training because you're pumped. So I want to see that. So that's why I hike them up. It's not in every video. It's in some videos. But some people are like, oh, what are you? Well, I'm going to be standing on stage and it's a dun-to-dun flexing all oiled up. So it's just like the whole channel is like fitness bodybuilding. So it's going to be exposed flesh. I mean, that's what it is. So And the whole concept, the very beginning of the video, I said, guys, I'm fat and I'm gross, and I'm not going to hide it. I want to show y'all everything. I'm not going to hide behind special lighting and special poses and angles under certain lighting with certain angles, and to pretend like I'm better than I am. I'm going to throw it out there and let you see how fat and gross I am, and I'm going to show the progression week to week and how much I'm changing from week to week or month to month. And the only way I'm going to do that is if I expose everything and throw it out there, like this is what I look like. Whether you think I look like crap, you think I look good, I've made good progress, I've made bad progress, I could have done better, I could have done more, I could have done whatever your opinion is your opinion, and everyone's entitled to their opinion, wrong or right. So it's just like, I know I need work. Someone said I had a gyno, like, oh man, you have wide hips, you have a wide, thick, blocky waist, you have gyno, your pecs are unsymmetrical. You must be a detective on that one, because that's hard to tell on that, you know. Anyway, so he picked me apart. But I threw it out there for people to see it, to pick me apart. Like, yeah, I know I need work. I'm not perfect. I'm far from it. That's why I'm doing this. And even when I get to my best, I'm still never going to be perfect, because I'm never going to feel like I've done enough to be called perfect, no matter what. It's always room for improvement. Everybody has room for improvement. There's no such thing as like, I've achieved it. I am Zeus. It's just not capable. So anyway, so the shorts, like I said, it's just to show you guys the whole grossness of what's going on here, you know, from powerlifting and being so fat and out of shape, 290 pounds. I wasn't no underwear model. I mean, like I said, I was not like this guy's trying to be. I was out there, man. I was big, I was fat. I stayed covered up all year round. Now I'm like, the only way I'm going to keep myself accountable is if I throw it out there. This way people can be like, hey dude, are you getting fatter? Because 3 weeks ago, I think you look better than you look. What are you doing? Accountability, man. And people are mean. They'll cut you down hard and let you know exactly where you're messing up.
Yeah,
So,
and yeah, that's for me. Like, I am absolutely not prepared to go through suffering.
no, I know you're not.
No,
You get hungry, you get mean. Like, hey, can I borrow your truck to go get some lumber? No.
you asked me after I'd already had plans.
I told you you'd use one of my vehicles. You're going to your parents' house.
It still didn't have gas.
Okay, but
it wasn't automatically. It wasn't going to magically get gas in it.
Okay, I would have topped it off or filled it up, and you could have used one of my Jeeps.
It was empty.
How did you get to the gas station? I would have done the same thing you'd have done. Anyways, back to what you're saying. You're not ready to suffer?
No, I was just messing around because, like, I am looking forward to those days where I have to make those decisions, kind of things. I haven't really had to come into that sort of situation yet. I haven't had a day where I was like under the weather like that, or luckily, as to this day or whatever, I haven't had a significant injury that has kept me from being able to still work out and stuff like that. So, like, I know eventually that stuff's going to come along, and it'll be interesting to see how I do handle it.
No, I hope it doesn't. I hope you never did. Like to be very frank, I hope no one ever has to go through any type of actual injury. Being hurt and having like knee, sorry to interrupt, but to have like knee pain or joint pain or elbow pain or a little clicking in your shoulder, or having like being hurt because like accumulated fatigue and just like wear and tear is one thing, but to have an actual real injury, and I've had several of them, I don't want anybody to ever that's serious about fitness, working out, losing weight, gaining weight, whatever it may be, to have to go through that, because it's miserable, man. It is absolutely miserable to have to go through that. And I hope you never have to experience that. I hope that you're not, brittle like I am, because like I am just made of glass, man. Like call me Mr. Glass if you will, because it's like I sneeze wrong and I'm just like, well, there goes L4 and 5. So, but yeah, so you're sorry to interrupt, man. Continue.
Like I said, once that kind of situation comes up, and again, like it could just be something as simple as just not feeling well on a particular day for whatever reason, and then having to make that determination of going going through with the workout today. Is that going to be beneficial to me or not? Like, am I going to get something out of this that's going to help me in the long run, or am I just going to be hurting myself because now I'm not feeling well for even longer? So I don't want to. I'm not looking forward to that day, but when that day comes, I'll have a better like scale of it. 'Cause I'm sure like previously before many like throughout the years, whatever, I probably had those kind of things come up. And with the focus I had back then, I'm fairly positive that I was just like, yep, can't make it sort of thing. But like with my focus being a bit different this go around and more like more driven
Mhm.
towards the goal, I am curious to see how it's going to go. Because like I said, like I'll say again, like you got to pick your battles, and it might be that at that point in time, I determine like, you know what, it is worth it. I'm going to keep going, kind of thing, and push through. Or it'd be like, nah, I'm just going to take my rest day and back at it the next day, kind of thing.
So I remember whenever we were younger, we were at 24 Hour Fitness and we were training, and those it wasn't a flat lying leg curl. It was the ones that had like a
A
little
peak
peak
in
to,
it.
yeah, and you had to lay on it kind of like this. I can't remember what that style is called. It's not lying leg curl. It's so maybe someone can leave a comment and let us educate us because I can't remember the name. It's been so long since I used one. I remember you laid on it, and we were probably in our early 20s, and you laid on it, and I think you were in your third set, and you went to go pull, and I think we had it close to maxed out because it was a pin stack, and then you pulled, you're like, ha, 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 my back, and you hurt something in your back. I don't know if you remember that or not. Do you? Oh yeah,
Mm,
you hurt your
no.
back real bad, and you kind of had to squirm off the machine. It was real pitiful watching. And I helped you up, and man, you could barely move. Like you tweaked something in your back, and like you could barely move, and like that was pretty much it for you. You kind of sat there the rest of the night while I finished working out, and then we drove home, and like you hurt for probably like 2 days and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
remember visually because I always remembered myself like how did he hurt his back doing a leg curl lying down? Like, how do you do that? And then it made me think, like, I would really, I would really absolutely hate to have something like that happen to my back. So it made me be a little bit more cautious, and actually not little, it made me be a lot more cautious about my back and my positioning when I was doing certain workouts and certain movements because I didn't want to end up doing something that was unrelated and getting hurt to it. And now that I'm older, every time I do anything, it's like I get hurt. Like on our leg press or hack squat, you're laying down. There's a little pin you pull to release the latch from the seat, and I went to go pull it, and then something in my wrist just popped real bad a couple weeks back, and I could barely move my wrist. And I had to wear wrist straps for everyone that watches the channel regularly. I'm sure y'all will remember and know. And it's just like getting hurt for something completely unrelated to what you're doing is the worst. And I remember you doing that. And now looking back at it, I'm just kind of like, man, it does suck. And remember watching you do that. And it's one of those things. It doesn't matter what you do to prepare for something. Like if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. So, and that's a different kind of suffering, right?
Yeah.
That's a completely different kind of suffering. Like I said, hurting my wrist. I pushed through that. I put a wrist strap on there. I did what I could do. I didn't make excuses not to work out. I changed up the routine to select things that I could do that wouldn't put me out of the gym and allowed me still to train the way and what I needed to train. But I worked around that hurt and that suffering. So it's a different kind of suffer. It's a different kind of hurt. But like I said, like doing the movements that would continue to hurt my wrist and suffering through that, there's just no benefit to gain from that. I'm not saying that's what you're saying to do by any means or sorts, but like I said, I just think there's different levels, and I think there's some people out there that are willing to like, I guess, prove to the room that like they can do it, and that's great for them if they can. But I don't have that type of like mentality to suffer anymore. Especially like I got to take care of 3 kids, I got to work, I got to have
Mhm.
that job, So it's a different kind of like animal altogether.
Yeah.
So
I definitely got to be at work. You know, difficult job. I got telling people like, yeah, you go ahead and do that.
yeah, yeah. If only it was that easy for me.
Yeah.
So, but I've always had a manual labor job my whole life. So, but I like working on my hands, man. I can't sit idle at a desk and just push paper and finger point. I can't do that. It's not in me.
I help out.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. You know the difference between a leader and a boss?
I help
No, no, no.
out.
I'm asking you. Do you know the difference between a leader and a boss? A boss
Uh,
will sit there and tell you what to do, and a leader will get out and
show
show you
you.
what to do. Yeah, there's a difference. Now, I've always been lead by example by showing people what not to do to get hurt, right? Because I get hurt, and like, see, and that's how you get hurt by doing that.
Yeah.
So I
I'm
set the
leading by
example.
example tomorrow. I'm working tomorrow with Thanksgiving.
Yeah, yeah, no, not me. I'll be working out tomorrow. Which actually, speaking of which, what time are you getting off tomorrow?
It won't be till 3.
so normal time if we do make the gym, and everyone's going to be over at that time and stuff like that. So I don't know, because I was planning on getting the turkey on the smoker and then getting in the gym and working out and doing that. But like I said, if that's the case, then you could probably just come over and work out at your normal time whenever, and then towards the evening when people are fading out, we could probably get in here and do our podcast. And we actually did order some mics, and they did come in. But the thing about the mics were like apparently they weren't compatible with what we were using, and I didn't know that they weren't compatible, so they don't sync up. So we're going to have to return those and order a whole new soundboard and microphone system and all that stuff to be able to have better, clear audio. Because these little mics are pretty good. I think we pay like $15 for them. They're not bad, but I want better audio. And I don't know if we're just going to have a stand for the mics or if we're going to have like the boom arm swinger. So when we're standing, like right now, we lean forward a lot and we spot so we can just kind of follow with a mic wherever we go and stuff like that to keep the audio consistent.
Just get the one and swing it back and forth between the three of us when Julie isn't here.
Oh, yeah, just get one mic and just share it between the three of us. That way no one could cut each other off. I think it's my turn to talk.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like I said, we're working on getting better mics, and then I'm ordering some soundproofing because there is some reverb in here or acoustic echoing. So I'm going to put a lot of soundproofing up to cut back on the echoing, and then let me know what y'all think about the lighting, if you guys like the lighting or not, if you think we need to make it brighter or get better lighting, because I think the lighting's pretty nice. It's softer, it's not too aggressive and stuff. But and then I'm still waiting on my logo. The lady was supposed to hit me back on Monday about the logo, and she did, but I sent her the design that I wanted, and then she was supposed to touch it up, and then took her forever, like 3 weeks. Then she finally comes back, and then she sends me something completely different than what I sent her. I'm like, no, let's clean up what I sent you. So finally, she's taking care of it. But this Monday, she told me she'd be done with it. And here it is Wednesday, and she's not done. So I'm waiting for that to get done, and I'm already getting prices for like a decal or something to go on the wall, and to get the logo of the channel, so we can get that changed out too. And we're actually working on getting a better computer to do better editing and stuff like that and everything else and the whole setup. So bear with us. We're working on it. We're trying to make it work the best we can. And we appreciate you guys watching and checking us out, especially when y'all leave comments, man. I love the comments, man. I like and sometimes YouTube doesn't notify me when I get comments, like the two about my shorts. Like you actually told me that I got those comments on last week's leg video, and I had no idea. Because I like replying to generally everybody or letting them know that, hey, yeah, I see your comment, especially whenever we get great comments like tonight, man, about the whole, are you ready to suffer? That is a great topic, man. It gives us stuff to talk about and talk to you guys about and engage with you guys better. So, I mean, give us your ideas and let us know what y'all think. And we'd love to kind of circle those ideas and topics and stuff like that. Because, well, it's just not an outreach program. What would you say? It's more engaging, I guess. So, because like it's a community, right? We're all in this together. I said all the time, like we're all in this together. It's not just about my results or your results, but everybody watching. Like there's a reason why you're watching. Whether you're maintaining, you're trying to gain weight, you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to compete, you're just into fitness and you enjoy just watching other people that are into fitness and like-minded like mindsets, or you're into sports or whatever it may be. We're all generally into the same basic concept of like, hey, we want to be better, and we want to be around like-minded people that are also trying to better themselves and maybe learn something, pick something up, or share something. Like Dave Tate. Dave Tate's a powerlifter and he created Elite FTS, and his thing is live, learn, pass on. So like you live and you learn as much as you can, and you pass on as much knowledge as you can to those around you who are willing to either accept the knowledge or maybe share more knowledge with you, or vice versa. Stuff like that. That's how we all grow, right? Without trying to be too hateful and hurtful in the comment sections and just be mean as can be. Because like I said, some people are just nasty out there, right? So, but anyways, I think that's going to be it for me on this one, man. Is there anything else you want to talk about? I know I kind of talked quite a bit of this.
Nah, I'm good for tonight. It's time for me to eat.
Yeah, it's time for me to eat too and stuff like that. So actually, we'll leave it this. So I actually had a friend come over today because I'm off this week, and I had to work on his truck all day because he needed help with it. The dealership was going to charge him $2,300 to replace his upper control arms, his lower ball joints, his inner and outer tie rod. They're going to charge him $2,300 for that. $400 worth of parts. $2,300, so $1,900 in labor. So I spent 6 hours of my day doing that, my day off, to help him out, to do him a solid and stuff like that. And you're welcome. I never mind it. Always enjoy helping a friend when I can. So, but that's what I spent my day doing. So I was still out there doing physical labor. Got my steps in. Got all my steps in. Might have been on my back and rolling around on a creeper, but got it done. So.
Yep.
But anyways, well, we appreciate you guys watching and stopping by and checking us out. Like I said, leave comments. Let us know if you made it this far in the video. If you haven't left a like, we'd appreciate it if you would leave a like. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, if you made it this far, let's be honest, you were entertained at least a little bit, if not all of it, hopefully. And if so, like I said, hit that subscribe button, guys. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you hopefully tomorrow. Actually, you will. This will be out tomorrow on Thanksgiving, which is today. Happy Thanksgiving.
Okay. Later.